Yes, and it is no news that when people stay together, they consistently do things together, they get familiar with one another. And this is not just talking about home front, but you find that even at workplace, that you're employed together, you work together for years, for months, and then you find out that you're already familiar with the person. And one thing that is common when there's familiarity is disrespect. Today, we're going to be discussing workplace familiarity. Engineer Tony J. Nakali last week said that you have to be careful that when you work in an organization, even if your boss, your superior, like talks, jokes, crack jokes with you, you have, if he doesn't set the boundary, you should be able to set that boundary, because if you are not careful, disrespect will set in, and at that point you start feeling, who is he, who is she to tell me what I can't do. This is today's live on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. Engineer Tony J. Nakali is right here. Jamima, Emmanuel, and Sambu Solomon. Good to have you.
Me, when did I say that? Not for that
It was a take home for everybody I met that day. You see that thing that the GM said? You see that thing that... See, they have to do contribution for you.
I'm telling you.
We have to raise fund.
Meanwhile, that your GM speaks well. No, 5 naira.
True, we raise fund. They cannot be taking that knowledge and be going like that now. We have to raise fund.
How can we find a way of making people pay to watch today's live?
you help us.
Well, I certificate this
daily subscription.
This school is bigger than PhD.
A lot of taking
Thank
down
you,
of
Equa
notes.
Executive, for this opportunity. Thank you, Equa Executive, for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Someone met me and said, Kai, Joyce, you see that statement that the GM made? Don't allow familiarity set in. In fact, even if the person doesn't set boundary, you should set that. But it's so common today that you find people who work together disregard like organizational policy. Maybe every organization have a organogram, how things should go, how communication should flow, and all of that. But today you find people saying they can even go to their superior, like, or their immediate boss, and say the GM said, for example, or the director said, so I have access to him. So when you are telling the people under it that this is the information, the person will tell you, no, this is the information, or I'm doing
As you are
this.
saying it now, people are hating you for saying it. As you are saying it, people are not happy that you are saying it. They are hating you.
But it's unethical. It's very unethical that you do that, and it
You are the one
affects
thinking that way.
productivity.
You are the one thinking that way. That is not a major necessity for them. You are the one thinking that way. If you find people on the streets with knowledge, why are they on the street? With knowledge. If you find people who didn't go to school, carrying yams, carrying heavy things to look for money, amongst the two people, who do you think has more knowledge? The person that is making ends meet for himself.
True.
You have more knowledge, you have more respect from your community, you just have people respecting you for reasons that you have carried yourself to make ends meet. You have carried yourself on your own level. You have carried yourself to be who you have said you are. There are people who say, I am a big man, I will not do this. You are not. You are not. I have said it on today's life that I don't know a rich man by how much he has or she has. I know a rich man by how much he spends. From the abundance of their heart, their mouth speaks. That's what the Bible says. From the abundance of their heart, their mouth speak. And you know people based on what they do, based on what they say, based on how they act, based on how they react. Acting, reacting, they are two different things. There are people that you will preach this gospel till Jesus comes. It's not theirs as far as they are concerned. Why? Like I said earlier, it's not a major necessity for them. Like, to have a good character is not a skill I should acquire. To be a nice person at work is not a skill. Nobody's even asking you to be nice. We're just asking you to work. But you know, courtesy demands that you treat people the way you want to be treated. Of all the people you have met at work, people who hate to be disrespected are people who disrespect the most. Of all the people you have met at work, the ones who hate to be talked about are the ones who talk about people. Of all the people you've met at work, the ones who hate gossip are the ones who gossip people the most. So that's how you know them. They are not easily fetched. So things that are a necessity to them are things that are outside work. And the things that are outside work is work that is funding these things for them. Are you okay?
You know, a preacher once said that, woe unto you if you allow familiarity setting. Like, you are seeing people that are up and above you, but because of familiarity, and this person is my guy now, though he's my boss, though she's my boss, but we eat together, we grew up together. Like, why would this person just set the pace for me to follow? See, forget this person I have access to.
Several times I have been to the EE office, each and every one of them, and I've seen them either about to have meal and I'm dead hungry. Stupidity will not let me sit with them, and I want to sit down and eat, no matter how close I am to you. Recently, I was on a trip, and one of them said, "Kai James, I said, "No, why you?
I can relate.
You.
Only me can relate.
Only you.
Only me can relate.
You see, but I said, "No, sir." He said, I said, "No, sir, I will not. I will not." And I sat elsewhere. They will bring it. They were equa executives. These are equa executives. They are not gods, but they are gods to me. I have respect for my leaders, no matter how they are, no matter who they are. See, if a leader is always faulted because he's doing wrong, don't join those faulting him. What I'm saying, you won't find it in any Bible. King James is not going to put it, New Translation is not going to, no, but it's just moral that would tell you, no matter how your leader is misbehaving, the Bible says pray for him. But you see some people, these are he is, I don't call these are he's this, he's that. Do you know that I heard him calling? Do you know that they are talking with? See, the Bible says judgment is of the Lord. When you get too familiar with people that your blessings flow through, you already have problem with your receiving. Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together. It didn't say shall God give unto your bosom. It says shall men. Who are these men? The people that God has placed above your life to bless you. Anything you will ever receive in this life comes from God, but is with men.
You know, in our own terms here, you just say, see, finish.
Yes, but what happens to you, Joyce, if you get familiar with your source of income? What happens to you? I see what some people do, unfortunately. Sometimes I know the workplace is not a place where you raise a family. You know, you are colleagues, truly. You are colleagues. But if you start behaving like a family, it does not mean familiarity. It means you just so love yourselves that you see the atmosphere becoming more cordial by the hour, by the day, as you always. Would it shock you to know that, okay, Solo, you have been here the longest in Equa Television. You've been here since I think 2017. Yes. Till date. In 2027, you'll be 10 years if Jesus does not return, because there's every sign that he's coming soon. From what we are seeing, people using hair that is not theirs and so on. So what was I saying? You have been here the longest. Yeah. You have been
God that started by fire.
He will be my God.
Today, tomorrow, and forever.
You have been here the longest. Have you noticed that there are people that till today you cannot play with them the way you play with Joyce? It's not you, it's them. Why am I pointing that way? It's not you, it's them. I don't want trouble. It's not you, it's them. I'm free with Jemima. Why can't I be free with Martha the same way? It's not me, it's not Jemima, it's Martha. It's how she is. Moses just will walk into the office, hey, my friend. But when he gets to Jemima's turn, he say, Jemima, how are you today? And he will cross her. It's not him, it's her. Is there anything wrong with that? No. People can be who they are. But you know what? It sends bad signal. it abuses that cordial relationship that people try to build at work. How can you work with somebody who does not care about how you feel? How can you work with somebody who does not care about how you are treated? How can you work with somebody who does not care? He has a vehicle, but you live almost in the same area. He drives past you every day. We are only humans. We will react to some of these things. Even if we are not asked to, we will react to some of these things. So I think the craziest thing to do, if that is a false language, I ask for forgiveness. But the craziest thing to do is to become familiar with the one that nature has kept on top of your head as your leader.
And the funniest thing, right, is that you react that way, but when it gets to your turn that you have become a boss over someone else, you automatically expect that they would respect you, forgetting that you did not respect your own boss.
We just quoted a scripture. Give.
Yes.
And
it shall be given to you. So
good measure,
pressed down, shaking together,
running over. Say,
Mm.
shall men give unto you? You will
unto
receive.
you.
And
So-
you know one thing with so no, that's a bad life. You will receive. You know one thing with the nature, one thing with the principles of life is when you sow coffee full of this mug, you will not receive coffee full, you receive 100-fold. So imagine that you disrespected your boss 5 times. What is 100-fold of 5 times? I think it's 500-fold. I don't know. But that's 500-fold. Is that what you're willing to have?
I think people don't really understand the magnitude of whatever is embedded in that verse. Even this saying that says God that blesses to touch generation. People take that for granted, forgetting the facts of that other part of it, the negative part of it, that he say he causes, even touch generation. So the idea is that, yes, okay, now what I am doing, if it's positive, I should be rest assured that even if it doesn't come to me directly, somebody will benefit from it. That is either my children
Or their children.
or their children. So for the fact that I'm conscious about that will guide my
Reasoning.
my reasoning and my behaviors, because I know there's a repercussion. Okay, just imagine you being disregarding the principle of God, the order of God. For me, if you ask me, I would say, if you look at things that way and you feel it doesn't matter, you are just telling God that he's stupid, that he doesn't know what he's doing for setting those principles. Because I want to draw our mind, particularly those that we are in this cycle called the children of God, because already we have been separated from the world. We are different from what the world present, because what the world present is that no grief for anybody. That's the negativity attached to it, because they are trying to tell you whoever he is, disregard that. He gives him back. After all, he's not feeding you. After all, he's not the one. You can resign. After all, he's not the one that is footing your bills. He's not the one that's keeping you. Somebody cannot just come and tell you nonsense and get away with it. That's what the world is giving. But you as a believer, it's totally different.
Freedom is good, but we should not look for any kind of freedom. Especially the kind that you resign to go home and stay alone and say you are free from. Hunger, there are hungry days ahead for you. You know what? Your family will tolerate you because of sympathy. They'll be like, so Joyce, ogenki ne mugu ne haka kai. Kiyakuri, so that your boss is wicked. Just take heart, Just take heart.
A better one will come.
One will come. These are people that are, and you feel so, wow, my mom, even my mom encouraged me that,
She's on my side.
but just give her 2-3 weeks. of feeding you without you contributing anything to the house. You know, there are parents that don't see the blessings of what we do because they don't feel it. Some people have been working, but your parents, like Maggi seasoning, you can't buy seasoning, you can't buy sugar and take home, and your parents are still alive. You can't even, when last did your mother tie a wrapper from you? You don't ever have to buy the wrapper. If you give the money, she can sort herself out. But when last? For some of you, we are working. This one that GM is saying, I'm not talking about my staff now. I'm talking about general public, because people call me GM. Even when I leave this position, people will still keep calling me GM. You understand? People, this one that GM is saying, how much is the money, sir? You have not transported yourself. You have not done. That is why the money will keep being a curse to you. You see, little becomes much when God is involved. The money will not increase. No. If you are paid 20,000, it's 20,000. People don't understand this principle. It's 20,000 that you will spend. The money will not, just because you're a good person, the money will not just go and become 30,000 when you wake up, or you check your alert, you just see 55,000. No, it will still be 20,000. But guess what? When you go to buy a mug that they sell 5,000, they can sell it for you 2,000. How much have you saved? 3,000. The money will not increase, but the value of what you are buying, that money cannot buy naturally. Sir, it has happened to me, sir. I can't count it. Every day is favor. I can't count it. I cannot count it. This morning I received a call. I was just coming to work, driving out. I didn't even enter the car. I got a strange number. And I picked it. Lo and behold, it was Jesus. He said, Tony, that's my MTN number. You know, Jesus, there are plenty. You see, a life of, I did not pray for that favor. I did not do, but it will come to you, not because you asked for it, but because you did what will magnet it to you. Some people don't see life as something worth investing on. This work that you have, God placed you wherever you are working so that he can just check your diligence. The money is slow to come in, is fast to go out. The economy is dwindling every now and then. God is watching, waiting for how you are responding. Because that's what trips him the most. The response of man. But here we are. Just because Jemima mistakenly showed you her flaws, you use that against her for the rest of your existence within your place of work. But look at it, sir. What brings about that? Familiarity. When we started, I know staff who could not even knock on my door to say, sir, your attention is needed on this. Not because I was wicked or anything. No. But now, I hear they say that.
Yeah.
The GM, who is with the GM since? Are they discussing official issues? I want to talk to him. I cannot go to the office of my boss, even if he's alone, and they said, wait till he says, come in.
You see, it's really a terrible thing when you allow familiarity setting, and no wonder the preacher said, woe unto you if you, because you see, the workplace is a place where you make things work, and the danger of allowing familiarity setting is that it's going to affect work, because at the end of the day, when your spirit is saying do this, you will not do anything. Forget this, we will not do it, nothing will happen. Like you hear people say nothing will happen, just leave this thing to slide. That's familiarity setting in. But you see,
and even when nothing happens, other people start learning.
Yeah.
So is it like that? You can go scot-free. No, your boss is gathering it.
And sometimes how unfortunate it can be when you're doing it with other people, like trying to initiate other people. Forget, let's not do this. Forgetting that you too can tell the same people, let's do this, and it will actually be your own turn to receive from what you actually reap. It's really a dangerous thing to allow familiarity set in. You spoke earlier on about how that, yes, it's a place of work. It's not a place of friendship or building family. But sometimes you see your superiors try to be cordial, try to make you relaxed so that you don't, the environment will not be tense for you.
You are just building an
Yes,
atmosphere.
so that you can be relaxed and then you work well.
Bring
But
out
for
your
some
best.
people, they don't see it like that. Just when maybe your boss say, "How are you? Hope you're doing fine. How is the weekend going?" You come to work on a Monday and say, why are you late? Even the organ knows why I'm
GM.
late. He called
Say
me
it.
during weekend.
They have said it about me several times.
He called me and I told him.
But you know, guess what? I think people's perception to things explain to us what has been on their mind for long.
Yes.
Do you
It didn't
understand?
just come out
Yes,
of the
if you are
blues.
thrifty with how people treat you, you think everybody wants the same thing as you do. Have I ever sent you a message in my life? Yes. Have I ever sent you a message in my life? Yes. How many times have you announced it to people that have sent it to you? So why is a different person taking it a different way? So if I receive message from my boss now, I should munch it and put it on Facebook. There are times, you see, I remember handling a very, 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 very secretive, very, very, how do I even call it? A top class situation that the ECWA executive put me. The ECWA president warned me. He said, "GM, I know you're equal to the tax, but this is top class. Nobody must hear this. Go in the name of the Lord." He prayed for us and we went and delivered. I don't think till today, almost 4 years or 5 years, till today I've not opened my mouth to mention it to anybody. Except now that I've said it. If you know what it is, it's your business. Because I didn't say what it is. But do you understand? I went and I did it and I was glad. I was glad. You know, I think anytime a situation like that presents itself again, they will think about me and the others. Say, last time we handled a case like this, why won't we just call this person and this person and this person? Joyce, most people know what happens to you.
You know, there are people.
Even me, sometimes I wish I don't know what I did. I'm telling you, I wish I don't know. It's difficult to keep things to yourself, but I wish I don't know.
I think it's an issue for some people. They are already filled with low self-esteem. They feel that me belonging or me being a person, I have to bring all these things to show people that this is where I am or the level that I've reached.
If your boss asks you a question in staff meeting, impress him now.
So you see,
With your answers, that we will know that you are not. You understand?
some people are looking for followership, and in a bid to look for followership, there are informations that can be discreet. Like people, when you are being employed, in fact, some of these things you are being told, there are certain informations, or if you are in a certain office, you shouldn't bring it out. For example, you are a secretary.
Carry the name confidential.
Confidential. So imagine you being a confidential secretary and you have access to a lot of file, and just when you are handed a file of somebody's employment, before the office give the person, you have called the person and said, "See you, congratulations. Don't worry, the letter will come." I didn't tell you. Your congratulations. You are going to be all those kind. It's really a terrible thing for one to do. If you work in an environment, you need to understand what it entails. You are not on the streets. You are not in your house. It is a workplace, and every office, every organization has ethics. One of which is information dissemination. Your communication must be discreet and professional. You can't just be like wow with everything. There are some things that is really confidential unless you are told to. But it's just funny enough how that people want to be loud with information that should be discreet, and the information that they should keep, that they should give out, they will not give it out. Then the ones that are supposed to keep to themselves, then you want to everybody should know about it. So people need to understand that the workplace is an environment where you make things work. Whatever does not concern you, it's just like you passing an office and you're hearing a discussion that is really confidential to that office, but because you overheard, you go out there and say, I just had them discussing that they will sack us tomorrow.
Mm.
And you want to go and recruit other people to fight it, and you just learned that no, that decision was changed. Look, just think about how foolish you will look. So it's very important that people understand that, see, familiarity is a terrible thing. No
Joyce,
matter how.
Let me tell you something that only Solo will remember.
Mm.
We had a meeting at management level. Before we finished the meeting, a non-management staff knew what we discussed. You remember, right? Yes. Before we finished the meeting, Maria, a non-management sorry, Hafsa too. Jemima, before we finished the meeting, a non-management staff heard what we discussed. Before we finished the meeting. Us.
Are you learning?
Us.
Is that someone from the management team told that person?
No,
or
you,
if
you
it's
don't
drugs,
understand. You don't
then
understand
it's
what I'm
drugs.
saying. You don't understand. We have two buildings here, and there is no wall. They are apart. So when you don't place respect or worth on what is called your job, nobody will. Not even God. I've learned that long time ago. Not even God. Unfortunately, we don't have staff meetings collectively. But if we do, I think this would be a better place. Have you ever heard a gossip that you wish, yes, they should have gossiped, but not within the church circle? Have you ever heard? I've heard that several times. In fact, 4 days ago, I heard one. I know. I am used to it. I'm used to hearing stuff about myself. Now I'm tired of thinking if it's me. I just hear it. But the point is, I just wish that all the things said were not said within the church setting. Because it destabilizes, it discourages. It's better if you expect it from unbelievers. People you think are unbelievers. We have so many unbelievers here, you know. The Bible talk about wolf in sheep clothing.
Now,
We have plenty of them.
But
Plenty.
looking at the implication now of familiarity, like it brings disrespect. Familiarity also brings about low productivity at workplace. In fact, it leads to defamation of character. Like you rightly say, sometimes things you hear and you're amazed. Like, where's the person? So, how can boundaries be set?
It's just, Joyce, I was going to say that before you asked, but let me say this before my sister and brother will talk about how boundaries is set, how boundaries are set. Familiarity, I know I said what I said last week, but it does not mean that the boss at the top should be a foolish boss. You have a role to play. You have a part to play. And before you start playing that role, know the rules of the game. It helps in you playing that game. You see, you cannot take yourself as a junior staff in a junior cadre and expect them to respect you like a boss. No, you can't. At the same time, you don't have to be bossy for people to respect you as a boss. No, if you are bossy, they will fear you, and that is not respect. It will seem like, but it is not. Anything that seems like something is not that thing exactly, even if it appears to be that thing. So, as a boss, you should also know that you should set boundaries as well. You see, there's what is called withdrawal. Whether it is money, we also have that in relationships. When you find out that Joyce is very disrespectful, when you find out that Joyce is very disrespectful, don't give her these reasons to disrespect you. Keep her how? At arm's length. If it's not work, don't deal with her. And if she disrespects you in the pipeline of work, you can take whatever actions. There are bosses today, believe me, they cannot punish the people that they are working with. Either they are sleeping with them, either they are collecting money from them, either they are doing things they have no business doing together, and you cannot look at Solo in the eye and say, I'm going to punish him. So there is a distinguishing factor between who the man at the top is and who the other person at the lower bottom is. You are always together, but it does not mean there are certain things you can do together. There are times I feel like, why won't I just take these people out for lunch? But I know that they are mouthy. So I'll prefer to say, okay, take this money for all of you and go and eat. God bless your decision as to where you want to go and eat. But that's not me. But there are times I can just be walking. Solo, it's lunchtime. Can you walk me down? Let's go and have lunch. Jemima, can you walk me down? Joyce, can you walk me down? Martha, can you walk me down? But I may not be able to try that with Moses Ija. This is the second time his name is appearing on the show. I may not be able to try that with him. Why? Because if he was going to tell people he followed GM to lunch, it's easy. From year to year, GM answered 50 calls. And all are girls. I'll never follow this man again. Even if it's true, that should not be heard from a follower. There was one time somebody reported someone to me. I said, are you serious? In your life, don't ever bring this talk to me just because you have the privilege of being in the same vehicle with this person. Don't ever in your life. So when I said that, I went to the man and I told him, this is what this person said. He doesn't work where he was working.
And then
he doesn't work where he was working. There are certain people, until they lose their jobs, this thing that we are looking for, we can never find it.
True. Picking from setting of boundaries, I think I will just speak from the subordinates and then from the boss's angle. From the subordinates, one of the things that really creates familiarity is the fact that, okay, all of us are sharing the same office or probably the same table, and then we're always talking, we're always gossiping, either backbiting someone, betraying someone, or bringing things that have happened outside into the office. So whenever anything is expected of us to do, we already know our strengths, we already know our weaknesses, so we're already pulling some people down before they even do anything. So I know, oh, Joyce, she can't even do that. She can't write a script. Don't bother giving it to her. Solomon Sambo, well, he can attend, but the best is to give me or give this other person. So already pulling ourselves down because we know our strengths. We don't even believe that, okay, because Joyce could not write a script last month, she can write it now. We don't believe that we can work on ourselves. And then from the boss's angle, probably the person rose from our circle, like from our level, and then that person is a boss now. We believe that we were together with this person before. There is nothing that this person will tell me that I will do. We're not seeing it that, okay, that person has risen to a particular angle and we need to accord respect to that person, whether that position befits him or not, whether they just picked and gave it to him, they appointed or they elected, whatever it is. We should not look at that like, okay, we can't give him the respect. And a lot of bosses make it so hard because when we are gossiping, the boss is within us. Whatever it is we're talking about, he is in our midst. So how do you expect me to give you respect when you go back to when we talked, we blackmailed someone together? So a lot of times the bosses are the ones that bring this whole confusion because they don't respect themselves at all. So if two colleagues are having a conflict, you can't resolve it. You can't resolve it. When you come, you are more like an accomplice in the whole thing because we talked about this thing together. So in as much as familiarity can help, but you should be able to curtail it as a colleague, as a subordinate, and as a boss as well.
Our boss in the early 2000s came with a swollen face to work the next day. So we're asking, okay, what happened? He said that somebody slammed the door mistakenly and he was coming. And we were wondering why, okay, I almost called her name. We were wondering why she didn't come to work that day. So she came at about 12, which was like a break time. Okay, we also go for break here at 12. Then it was, I think this was 99, 2000. And she came like happily. We were like, auntie, you are just coming to work. Nobody heard. The HR did not say you are late. You were like, because everybody was going to the HR. Do you know? And the HR said she doesn't know that the other person was not coming. So we asked her, we said, what happened? She said, she just decided to come late. Chaply. We were like, you just decided to come late? She said, Oga is in the office. She said, who is Oga? He said, Oga is in the office. You go and explain. She said, who is Oga? I beg, move, let me sit down. See how everybody was dragging seat to hear gist. She said she's not saying anything. That when did he come to work? That's how she said. What time did he come to work? We said he came around 10. She said, okay. Was he looking good? He said, no, it's not too well. That he said that the door slammed. She laughed. She laughed. We were doing a project for UNICEF that year. And she had to stay late. And he tried to harass her in the office. So she gave him one good lick with her hand. She's Igbo. If you see her hand, her hand is like palm tree. She gave him one good lick. He bled on his nose. Yes, she said it. So he came. He had to come to work the next day because we were doing that project. She said, so now she can do whatever she wants to do. And she said that his punishment is he has to tell her sorry in a staff meeting. Then she'll start respecting me as a boss. And if he fires her, she's telling everybody. But you know, that time, when they say boss, you are afraid who a boss is. So you wouldn't want anybody to hear that story from your mouth. So everybody was quiet. Lo and behold, on a staff meeting in a studio like this, he now said he needed to apologize, that he was passing on his hand. She laughed. She laughed. He now said, okay. That he has been having feelings for her. And he tried to go about it the wrong way. And this was what happened. That swollen face we saw last time, that it was not a door that was slammed on his face. That he harassed her. And she was defending herself. And then that was what happened. So, and we continued the meeting. But you know what? He was wrong. She was wrong. If you slapped him, we didn't have to know. That is our boss paying all of us. That time my salary was 5,000. Paying all of us. You would have just talked with him. If you are matured enough to have taken that decision, you still would have been matured enough to deal with the issue amicably. You would have gone to him to say, I didn't like what happened. If it happens again, I will resign and I will let everybody know. I think that's better, you know. But you let everybody know. But you know what? A boss is always a boss. Even though he was not a Christian, but he had the anointing to be the boss for that place, that time. He wasn't the owner of the company, but he was the boss. Guess what? She lost respect before everybody because he owned up and spoke. Very brilliant chap. He loves women. He's a nice guy. And women know he loves them. So they like the attention that was coming from him. But why would you want to do that at work? We have so many spots you could have met. You know, there are better ways of doing these things as adults. He was single. You were single. So what was the problem? So I think there are better ways to trapping such eventualities, if you let me. Yeah, there are better ways.
Setting boundaries can be both ways, because sometimes people wait for the bosses to set the boundaries before they respect them. Some people will say, somebody that did not respect himself, you want me to respect him. You see, you owe it as a duty to respect and honor every instructions that comes from your head, because the Bible did not tell us when the person is misbehaving, curse the person. When the person is doing this, fight the person. All we are asked to do is to pray for the person. That the person tries to make the work environment conducive for you, checking up on you, hope you are doing okay, does not mean that you should take that as an advantage for you to just rubbish the character of the person. For me, sometimes when I see people talk like that, it just tells me how ignorant you are and unintelligent that you can be. Because this is not anything that somebody should even know about. It should just be your business. So, but out of ignorance, you think that the only way you can prove yourself or maybe gain attention is to bring out certain informations and all of that. Your own responsibility is for you to pray. I'm not saying that anywhere, like even if you are being led to hellfire, you should go there. You have the right to say, okay, I'm not doing this again. There are a lot of people that were asked maybe by their heads, oh, come and sign to this and do, maybe it has to do with stealing of funds and all of that. But because it's against their belief, they will rather resign than for them to stay there and then maybe disrespect or insult or all of that. So you see, there are times that your boss might not set the boundaries. For example, you're eating and the person carries spoon and join you and is eating your food, and maybe the food is not enough for you, and then you're not happy with that. Like, you now decided that, okay, going forward, I will disrespect this person. Or the person comes to you, oh, how are you, and shake you, and just like, is this person not my friend? I would disrespect the person. It's a two-way thing. If this person does not set the boundary, I should set the boundary. I worked with my immediate head late now. One time she called me and she said, Joyce, it's not as if I don't want to like laugh, play, have some time out with like people around or staff under my unit. But this is it. We are different. We think differently. Just when you're thinking, okay, let me just take all of these people out, the next thing you hear when you come to work might be a different interpretation of it. So sometimes I just prefer to just be. It's not because I hate everybody or I don't want to, but there's a way when you notice how people think and how they view things, you can decide to just treat them at arm's length, not like you hate them. There are people that I've worked with and I'm working with that I can laugh and joke with them. I know that nothing, it won't breed disrespect. But there are people that if you try that joke with them, you'll be insulted in public, because for them, they just see it as, we are friends now. Like you said earlier, we are all friends. In fact, there was a point I was joking with someone, and while we were just joking and laughing, and it was an abusive word that came, and I turned, I look at the environment, like, it's not just me and you that are here. If you don't have respect for me, for like the position, like I'm not even talking about like the organization. So because when you do that in public, you're also calling for disrespect. So I just told myself, no. Like, I was shocked first, and I decided that no, when it comes to joke, no. This person you should really be official with, because this person does not understand when it is joke or when you are. So the best thing for you to do to earn your respect and to keep your respect, even if you are somebody that can tolerate respect, but for the sake of the organization, there are certain things I will not do. So you just decide to just treat the person as arm's length, no hate. You can just keep it official, because there are other people that understand that, yes, though we joke, but it should not come in the place of work. You see, you joke with certain people when you say, oh, we need to do this job, and they are up and about to do it because the instruction is coming from somebody that they respect, that they see, yes, this person is my superior, and he's saying, let's do this, we have to do it. The fact that we ate together yesterday or earlier will not come in between this work, and I'll do it. So tell me why you will not build relationship with people like that. And then there are certain people that don't understand that language, whether being superior or what. As far as you eat with them, you people are equal. As far as you eat with them, familiarity has set in, and so they don't understand when it's time for work and it's time for eating. They just want to just disrespect or just put the familiarity and say, I will not do this. So you have a responsibility as the boss or as the superior to create boundaries. Nobody's saying you should be all bossy and all of that, but there are certain boundaries that you should create, so for the sake of work. And as a subordinate, no matter how free or how playful your boss is with you, don't disregard the fact that this person is your superior. And when, as far as work is concerned, you have to operate in that line. And I think that will make work, because of eventually that's the essence of work.
Of course. And it comes from a place that if your superior relates with you and doesn't set boundaries, if you see it as a privilege and not a right, it works better. But when you see it like it is my right, then familiarity really goes like 100% into it. But for every time your superior comes down to your level, relate with you without boundaries, you should see it as a right, and you should set the boundaries, just like we said earlier.
And to add to what you said, I think all that we are saying is about me. We are just coming together to work. But with what am I coming to that place? It's about my orientation, my belief, my training. Because definitely it's from the abundance, that's what you display. Because there are some people, for me, this discussion, I just feel you should just take the boss out of it. Just have it at the back of your mind that your boss is someone that he doesn't know his left or right. Let's just say. But what about you? What is the essence of why you are there? Bible...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The essence...
That left and right part. Remind me. Remind me,
Red
please.
Byros are waiting somewhere.
Just
You
remind
understand?
me,
I
please.
will remind
I
you.
know, gladly you
I
did.
like
I'll remind
this kind
you
of
too.
Thank you
reminder.
so much. Left and right, continue. You stopped at where I don't know my left and right. Continue.
No, I said the leader wherever.
Yes, I don't know my left
Let-
and right. Continue.
Let's not just talk about the leader. Whoever is your leader, whoever
He
is
doesn't
your
have to
boss.
face me.
You understand? Let's talk about you. What are you bringing in that house, in that environment where you are gathered to work? What are you bringing? You are expected to do nothing but just the right thing that you are expected to do, nothing more, nothing less. Even if the boss is irresponsible, you are expected to be responsible
On
at
his
your
behalf.
at your own portion.
Yeah.
Your own portion, you are expected to be responsible. You see, that's
Your
the reason-
cubicle.
Your cubicle.
We
Yes,
talked
sir.
about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are expected to
Yeah.
be responsible in
Just
your
play
own
your own
cubicle.
part.
Just play your own part. In playing your own part, that means you will accord him all the respect, because that's the right thing to do.
Whether
That-
he deserves it or not.
Whether let's remove him, just do your part. Because if
Let's remove him. Okay.
Because I don't
or
know my
her,
left from my right.
yeah, or her,
Which one is
they are
Oha?
setting
That's a soup.
they are setting me
They are
up.
making
Yeah,
some people angry. Or how is a soup? Oh.
No, let's just stick to the him.
Don't worry. Continue. We will meet
Finish
at
what
the
you
end.
started.
So you see, and then you mentioned something earlier when you said
Don't
some
bribe
things.
me.
When you said some things,
Finish what you started.
when you say some things you wish is not happening in this kind of cycle, a religious setting, because it's discouraging, it's frustrating. So many things attached to it, honestly, because that's what you are expected. You are expecting to see the real principle that God have set. You want to see it like really displaying. But quite unfortunate, because some people are even working in this kind of cycle, not because of their belief, but they are just doing it for their own stomach. So for those kind of people, expect anything, expect disrespect, plus from them, because all they are after is that stomach. So they don't care about anything that make up the organization, what the organization present. Whoever is leading them, they don't even care. All they're after is that stomach. So I expect wherever you are, do the right thing, because the Bible have set the standard for us. He give us leader. He said we should pray for them. We should respect them. So and the beauty of it, whether you like it, whatever you do is for yourself. Whether you respect your boss or you don't respect him, is for your own good. Because I want to believe that in every given portion that God has placed you and said, okay, this is your boundary, this is your cubicle, you are a leader there. So whatever you do there, definitely you will see the result, whether negative or positive. Because if I'm heading a unit and I have 2 people under me, let's just say 1 under me, and I'm leading for a particular period of life, what is my impact? Because that's what you are expected. You are just giving 1 person to lead. How are you leading? So don't look at the person that is leading 30-something people or 100 people. No, look at yourself that you are leading 1 person. How are you doing? Then you look up and see whether the person is trying, whether the person deserves respect or not. And whatever you give out, definitely it will come back to you.
There are a lot of factors that breeds familiarity, which eventually leads to disrespect. So we all have roles to play, where be it superior or subordinate. You don't go about as superior gossiping with your staff about another staff. At the end of the day, you fall the victim. And as subordinate, if you disrespect your superior, of course, await a return match sooner or later. You will definitely reap from what you actually sow. It spells negative about you. It shows ignorance, you being unintelligent, you're not being smart, and it tells that you're not even a professional person when you allow familiarity set in. And sooner or later, you will not even grow in that your craft, because you have allowed familiarity set in. You do not take instructions. You are the boss of your own because you have access. So, but I pray that you know what it's expected of you. The Bible says we should pray for our leaders. Those that are up and above us are being, God allowed them to be there. And since God allowed them, then you pray for them. That at any point you see or you are opportune to see any of their weakness, pray instead for them rather than bring them down. So I pray that God will help us. This is today's life. Thank you so much, Engineer Tony, Jane Akali, Jamima, and Sambo Solomon. Equa Executive, we're really grateful for this platform. For our supporters, our viewers, thank you for sticking to Equa Television International. Mata, Hassan Danjuma, and then the editor, Moses Ija, Jeff, Moses, Desmond, MCR. Really appreciate all. Jerry, Sunday, and Patience, Yila. Thank you for doing this with us. Until come your way
You didn't
tomorrow.
call Linda. How do you want to go out?
Oh, Linda, thank you for streaming. Linda, Morgag, thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time. Bye.